Hey everyone! I just finished up filming a tutorial for the Minni Backpack from Diedlebug. This is a great fun backpack. I made it in all vinyl and I used binding instead of the drop-in option she gives. I also made flat pockets on the side instead of puffy ones, and I did my zippers just a little bit different as well. So here is the backpack exterior. I have tissue paper in here right now, but here's the inside cargo pocket. I use waterproof canvas inside the bag. And it's got a little zipper pocket inside as well. Alright, I hope you'll join me in sewing this and you like the video. Have fun! I am back! Woo! And with a tripod. I'm trying to figure out some lighting issues. So maybe we'll have something figured out eventually. So bear with me as I adjust to that. I will have dogs throughout this video. There's currently one right here. They are very tippy on the hardwood floor, and I'm very sorry about that, but I'm not caging them for that. So if you don't want to listen to noise, please find a different video. I'm sorry. But for everyone else who wants to still hang out, even though there might be some tippy toes, we're going to do the Minni from Diedlebug, I think is how you say her name. I'm going to use vinyl from Purple Dragon Fabrics. It's got like a fleece backing type backing, and it's completely uninterfaced. I've gone ahead and put the markings that she tells you to put on the back panel and on the bottom panel exterior and lining. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into sewing. I've got my zipper here cut to size. I'm going to do this a little bit differently because she uses zipper stops at the end of hers, and that gives her a little bit longer of a length of zipper. So my finished zipper will not be the length it needs to be if I do the pattern as she says. So what I'm going to do is take my zipper tabs and I'm going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, open it up and fold it in half to meet that line, and then fold the top down to meet that line as well. So we're going to close this over the zipper like so. But instead of shoving the zipper all the way up to the center like we're supposed to, I'm going to only do it about halfway. And then I'll fold this down. And then we can top stitch from there. I'm going to go ahead and put a clip on the end so it doesn't come undone. Push my zipper the rest of the way up. And then I'm going to come to the other end and do the same thing with the zipper tab. And reminder that it's only going to go in halfway to get it to be the full length. I could have just cut my zipper longer, but I didn't realize it until it was too late because it's been a while since I've made this pattern. So I have a finished length of what I'm supposed to according to her. So we are good, and we should be able to top stitch right at the that folded edge there. Okay, so I'll be sewing on my Juki 1181. I have a, I believe, size 80 needle in here. No, 18 is what it's called. These are the needles I use. And then I have Tex 80 Unicorn Mane sewing string on. So we will go ahead and top stitch. I use a zipper foot And I put my fabric right up to the inside of my zipper foot and use that like a seam guide. And then we're going to top stitch on the other side. Make sure your zipper hasn't moved. So here's your finished zipper. Sorry, the lighting is poor because the natural light's right in front of me. So we can go ahead and trim that zipper to the zipper width. Don't cut your zipper tape though. If you accidentally nick it just a little bit, I would go ahead and just put some fire to it so it melts it back into place. Okay, go ahead and grab your cargo lining top. I've got my ruler here, so I'm not going to make any marks like she had you do. I'm just going to grab a little 1/8 inch double-sided tape. I get this from geekyhardware.com. And I'm going to put it on the top and the bottom of my zipper. This helps my zipper stay a little bit straighter. Hoping for all the way straight. So we're going to put our zipper pull on the left-hand side, right side down, and centered. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. And centered. So then go ahead and grab your lining and place it right sides together with your zipper and panel at the top here. I'm going to go ahead and clip it together along the top edge just so it stays straight for when I'm sewing on the bottom. So yes, this is the top. If you have directional fabric here, make sure you put your print. This is the top and your zipper goes on the bottom of that. So it looks like we'll be sewing 1/4 inch where our zipper is and 1/2 inch the rest of the way around. So I'm going to start on my zipper tab since that's the thickest spot. And I'm going to use a 4 stitch length since I'm sewing with vinyl. Back stitch at the beginning. Hopefully everyone can see okay. My zipper pull is right here, so I'm going to go ahead and unzip so I don't get that bump. And then you're going to pivot and use a 1/2 inch seam. Making sure your lining and exterior stay flat. Pivot again. I need like a 1/2 step back. Stitch all the way down. Oh, don't stitch all the way down, actually. Back up, back up. And then find 5 inches and leave a turning hole. I just made a quick little mark down here at the end so I know where to turn or to start sewing again. It probably doesn't have to be 5 inches exactly, a little shorter, a little longer is good enough. And then back up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my corners, not cutting my zipper tab. And then I like to put little notches where we began and stopped stitching, like just little slits. That helps that piece fold in really easy later. So then we'll try to turn this out, which I don't think I've ever done this in vinyl, so it might take me a second. Okay, I did it. Woo! I would definitely suggest leaving your turning hole in the center, or even stitch up like this side, the zipper, and the other short side, and leave this raw, and then fold it in the 1/2 inch, and then we can top stitch all the way around. So again, I'm going to start on the tab since it's the thickest spot. I'm going to use the side of my zipper foot for my 1/8 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to stitch all the way down and around. I have a scrap of vinyl that I like to use as like a fake hump jumper when I get to the sides over here. So I just manipulate the vinyl scrap until it's as thick as the thick part of vinyl we're trying to jump over, and put it partially underneath my foot and then sew down like that. I found this to help a lot to not get those like skip stitches, not skip stitches. It's almost like nesting in the back when you go over like one thick spot. It's not really a nest, but I don't know what it does. Skips a stitch and it gets angry. That's all I know. I like to try to keep it happy. Instead of back stitching there, you could have just pulled your threads to the back and tied them off. See how like this corner looks really nice. It's like a normal stitch. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And then this opposite corner is where I backstitched, but then over here it did some weird looping and a little tiny bit down in this corner as well. So I can't figure that out all the way, but we're going to pinch the corners later and some of that will be hidden. So good enough. The top of your cargo pocket is complete currently. So now we're going to do the same thing with the bottom cargo. remember, if it's directional, you'll want your print to go top to bottom, and we're going to attach the cargo pocket top to the top here, like so. Keep that in mind if you're using directional fabric. So I will flip this over, and it's the exact same thing we already did. So we're going to center it. I pulled the backing off my tape. I don't know if you saw that. Okay. All right, so we have this now. We're going to take our waterproof canvas and lay it right sides together with the bottom exterior. Again, it's going to be 1/4 inch seam allowance on the zipper and 1/2 on everywhere else. Leave a turning hole at the bottom. Don't be like me last time. And I got it a lot more centered. Okay, again, I'm going to start in the zipper tabs. I'm going to use a 4 stitch length. And I'm sorry, I don't think I said earlier, but I use a 5 stitch length when I'm top stitching. When you're coming down the sides here, you want to be really careful to not get your zipper tabs or the top part of your cargo pocket. So I've actually got more like a 3/8 of an inch seam right now. Backstitch. Backstitch again. Yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be about 3/8 of an inch going up. And I think that's just because I have the vinyl, so it's a little bit thicker. Again, I'm going to cut my corners and not cut the zipper tabs or any part of the zipper. Okay, all set. Got our corners cut. I put little notches there, slits. I've never worked with this purple dragon vinyl before, and it seems like it might have a bit of stretch to it. I should have tested that a little bit more. Hopefully though, with the waterproof canvas, won't make a difference. Okay, push your corners out. I use a crochet hook, a little tiny one. It's like a 3.75. I've also used the tip of my scissors, like a pair of Fisker scissors, so like a kid's Fiskars. I don't know how to say that either. I'm not super great at pronouncing things I've never heard pronounced before. Okay, tuck that end in, that hole. Clip it shut. And here's that. And we'll top stitch around there as well. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start in the thick zipper tab. Get my little fake hump jumper. Hold on just a second. Someone was driving a tractor or something down the street. I assumed my dogs were going to start barking. So now I have 2 in here with me. All right, stitched all the way around. Trimmed threads. It did much better this time. It only had a couple of loopies right there. The other corners are perfectly fine. I don't know. So again, this is what we have, just a flat, completely raw edge, no raw edge, sorry. He's standing on my presser foot now. Oh look, he's making it go, even though it's shut off. Let's go, 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 go. Gotta let go. Okay, I went ahead and made my boxes. I'm gonna go ahead and take a box and pinch it at my corner there. And that should make this all line up. Double check, of course. And then we're gonna sew on that straight line that's left. Well, you can't really see it, but it is there. There's a straight line there. Let's go ahead and sew on that. Probably should turn your stitch length down to a 4. And we're going to do that for all 4 sides. So again, pinch the corner. Should have it line up. Double check. So you'll see I don't start backstitching, I just go forward all the way down and then backstitch all the way back. Mostly just because I'm lazy and I usually forget that first backstitch. But it seems to hold up okay, so I'm not mad. Got one more corner left here. I'm gonna go ahead and burn those threads so they don't come unraveled. Just be careful if you're using vinyl. So you don't melt your fabric like I almost just did probably. Okay. So she has you trim all your ends. Okay, so here is your completed cargo pocket. It is super cute. You've done a great job so far. So I went ahead and put double-sided tape just around like the edges on the inside of the cargo pocket within my top stitching. So then I can take my double-sided tape off. This was 1/8 of an inch. I don't know if I said that. And we will stick this. Oh, I made my box already. I made the box she told you to make. And I will stick my cargo pocket down on the lines I drew. Which I almost had a heart attack, by the way. I took this and wrote on the wrong spot. So I tried to erase it with my finger. It wouldn't go. I licked my finger, tried to get it off. Nope. Had to rub it off with a piece of cloth. Okay, so we'll remove the top. Actually, we probably should do the sides next. Let's just go ahead and remove it all. Oh, that took my whole piece off. And one more piece over here. Probably should have taken these off all to begin with. I like to try to take them off at the end so it gets the least amount of dust on there. Okay. Push that back down. I'm going to come up to the side, come over to the side and push that down. Push this one down on top. And one more. spot here. Oops. All right. Now we get to try to top stitch this baby on. Start at the top, and I'm going to use my top stitching lines as my guide. So I'm going to start in the hole of one of them. I'm going to be on like a 4.5. Coming up to this next side here, so I want to make sure my side's where it's supposed to be. Make sure that edge is flipped to where it needs to be as well. Oh no. Womp, womp, womp. I am struggling with this cargo pocket. I have gone ahead and cut those corners like she said to earlier. I cannot get my pockets to be as small as she says they should be. I think mine's going to end up being approximately an inch taller than where it was supposed to be. Oh, I don't think that's straight. Someone hold their breath for me. Trying to flatten that out. Ow, that got me. Okay. Somebody cross your fingers that this is straight. It was not with the lines at all. Poke out those corners. And my pocket is crooked. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so after many fails yesterday, I quit making my mini because I shredded my pockets. I ended up taking this screw, excuse me, and loosening it, and then loosening this, well, I took this nut and loosened it, and then loosened the screw, which made my presser foot, it made it not so hard, which helped take away any, like, eating it was doing. I also used a hump jumper because I don't think I was. So I have my pocket officially sewn on. All right. Now we're going to grab our other, our main zipper, our zipper panel lining and exteriors, the bottom and the top. Well, she might call them the front and the back, actually. I need to make sure this tape goes in rainbow order, which was one of my problems with one of my attempts at this cargo pocket. I installed my zipper backwards, so I was going the wrong direction. I ended up making 3 different cargo pockets. What a mess, y'all. Okay. So we're going to take the front and lay your zipper down. You can use double-sided tape here if you want. I'm going to skip it this time, which I shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. All right. We're going to top stitch this down, or not top stitch, sorry. We're going to baste this down with a 5 is what I use, which is my top stitch length. I'm going to move my zipper pull. You just see like my chin the whole time here. Need to sit out and turn the camera some more. Bobbin change. Bobbin is ready. My zipper is just a little short. Hopefully my seam allowance will be big enough that I will catch that later. All right, lay the exterior on there. Sorry, that's the lining. Your lining is supposed to be a little bit bigger than your exterior. All right, 1/4 inch seam on the zippers. Whoop, with a 4. I'm gonna move that zipper out of the way once I put my needle down. Shouldn't move your zipper out of the way if you don't have your needle down. Go ahead and flip our exterior to the right side out and the lining right side out. Because I'm not doing the drop-in, I'm going to top stitch now. Make sure you change to a 5 or your preferred stitch length, top stitch length. This zipper is so pretty. I can see it in the video. I'm impressed with how well it shows up on the screen with my dodgy lighting. Okie doke. Then we're going to take our bottom and do the same thing. Sorry, she calls it a back this time. This is the back. This one will go towards the back side. The front one goes towards the front side, which is why she calls it front and back. Well, at least I think it is. All right, we have a base stitch length of a 5 on already. I'm going to go ahead and hit the ends of my zipper here with a lighter. Whoops. So it doesn't unravel anymore, since I am short on it. I don't know how I got so short, but we'll go with it. Okie doke. Now we put the lining side on, right sides together. I like to do it from my exterior side so I can see where my stitching is most of the time. Back down to a 4, and we're using a 1/4 inch seam. Switch to your 5 stitch length. Open up your back. I don't know if I finished my thought earlier, but she has you cut the linings bigger than the exterior, because usually you lose just a little bit of the lining. But here you can see, no you can't. I have a little bit extra lining now. I forgot to make notes on the cut chart that I want them cut to the same size. But that's how I've always made them before, is just cut to the same size. So either way works. Okay, so your zipper panel is done now. Okay, and it'll go around like this. Let's grab our gusset. Okay, these are actually called side panels, not the gusset. My bad. We'll go ahead and take one exterior side panel and lay it right side down. And then we'll take a lining side panel and flip this over and sandwich it right side together with the lining. Then we'll use a 1/2 inch seam. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I know a lot of people don't like this 1/2 inch seam allowance, but oh, I love the 1/2 inch seam allowance. That gives me so much more room for error. Is that like my zipper tabs end was too short? Look it. So now I've got all this extra room. I'm good to go. All right, go ahead and fold these ends right side together and top stitch across. I'm going to go ahead and put this hump jumper there just to make sure I don't mess up my vinyl. Make sure you tug on the lining and the exterior so it's straight and flat and you have all the excess fabric out. Okay, that's done. Let's grab our pockets and make sure they're the correct way. Okay, so I have mine cut 1 inch narrower than what she had them to do it as just a general slip pocket. I'll have like about 1 inch of room to make my pocket pop out just a little bit. I didn't want it to pop out too much. My customer asked me to do just a slip pocket, so hopefully the inch isn't too much. I might end up taking another 1/2 inch off. And I just remembered that I'm gonna have to like grade the bottom of my pocket to get it to fit properly. I'll show you what I mean because I just cut it 1 inch shorter. I'm not gonna be gathering the bottom either. So I'm gonna have like a triangle piece. I used 1/2 inch seam allowance and sewed the lining and exterior pocket right sides together. We'll flip it up and back so we can top stitch. Switch to your 5 stitch length. So before I grade my pocket on the bottom, I want to make sure that my pocket's not going to pop too far. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it on the pocket area. And yeah, that inch is way too big. For just a slip pocket, I mean for a normal, like maybe a water bottle pocket, that's probably pretty okay. Maybe not a water bottle. I want it more flush. She wants just a regular old slip pocket. So I'll probably take another, I think I take another inch off and just make it just as big as my pocket. Let me do that real quick. Before I cut this, I wanted to show you that triangle piece I was talking about. So my bottom measures just as wide as the bottom of the side panel now. And I angled it from here to as the width. So let's just say this is like 9 by 5. I want it to be 8 by 5. So I'm going to take a 1/2 inch this way and a 1/2 inch this way. So then you get your bottom to be the right size and you can pop your pockets still. Okay, so my pockets are cut down. And we'll put the right side out and lay them on the side panels. I did not cut this one down enough. But we'll go with it. I'll trim it later. And then do it on the other side. I already have mine on the other side, so. Then we're just gonna cup stitch, dang it, baste this on. Baste all the way around. Remember, my one side was a little too large for what I wanted, so I just let them have a bunch of overhang over there. I'm going to go ahead and baste all the way up. And then all the way back up the other side. Okay, I gotta trim this, whoops, sorry. This extra off. Okay, now I have little slip pockets. That should be perfect for my phone. I was just looking for it to show you and I'm using it. So there is that so far. Okay, so then you want to grab your backpack straps, your strap anchor, your strap connectors, and your handle piece and make marks on all of them like she says to in the pattern. I went ahead and put double-sided tape on top of all of my marks that I made for easier assembly. So I'll start removing the double-sided tape. This is for the carrying handle. We're going to fold our raw edge into the center line that we made. We're going to do that on both sides. And then this gets folded in half so your raw edges are hidden. Your raw edges are in there and hidden. So I'll just go ahead and put maybe 2 clips on here and set it to the side. Let's go ahead and do the backpack straps. Since these are done in the same way that the handle was just done, I'm going to take the raw edges and fold it to the center, the long raw edges. On both sides. And then this is also folded, as I said. Just a couple clips on here. I usually don't even clip them anymore. I'll just like fold it as I go. Oops. This is another backpack strap, so I'm just doing the double fold is what this is called. And then folding. Okay, then we're going to take the strap connectors, and these are done only a tiny bit differently, and that's just because you don't have to hide your raw ends. Because this is going to be folded over your rectangle rings, you won't even see the raw edges inside. And then this will wrap around a rectangle ring that I don't have sitting with me. You'll just put it with the rectangle ring right in the center and fold it in half and then clip it. After we top stitch everything, of course. So fold your raw edge to the center and on the other side, and we leave that be with those raw edges right there down the center. Last one we have here is the strap anchor. This one we are not going to top stitch yet. Well, I'm not going to. You can do as you please, of course. I'm just folding my edge again to the line we drew. I want to make sure this is the same width. I didn't think so. I think it should be about 1 1/8 wide. 1 1/4 is what I got actually. So there's that, and there's like a little gap in between here. We're gonna leave this one alone, but we're gonna go top stitch all the rest of them we just made. Don't top stitch this one yet if you're following along with me. Definitely want to backstitch on the backpack straps. I like to forget to do that. It's not a big deal because you stitch over the ends. As long as you stitch over the ends. If you just rivet it, then you definitely need to melt your threads or tie them off or backstitch. So I've just got like a tiny little assembly line of straps and connectors, handles and whatnot. You just go all the way back through them. trim your threads. And grab your back panel. Your back panel should already have your markings on there, like she told you to do in the pattern. You're going to take your handle and trim any threads, I guess, even though I just told you to do that. And then you're going to fold it so it's not twisted. That's usually what I do first, to make sure it's not twisted. And then I'm going to line up my handle with the markings I made on the inside lines of those. You want to be closer to the center with these so the backpack straps can go outside of them. So actually what I'm going to do while I'm thinking of it is I'm going to get my backpack strap as well. Make sure it's wrong side up and baste it on right here with the strap, the handle. Okay, so we're going to baste it on. She has you use 1/4 of an inch for this one. We're just going to keep stitching past the handle connector on the one side to get back up, and we're on the handle. And then make sure your handle is wrong, or your strap rather, sorry, your strap is wrong side up. Put it right next to your handle and finish, whoa. Somehow I got really big. I'm only supposed to be 1/4 of an inch away, but oops. Oh well. That'll be covered. Nobody will see it. Okay. Then you're going to take your strap cover, anchor, strap anchor. I'm going to put some double-sided tape down on the edges where we folded over the fabric. So it's out of my seam allowance, is what I meant to say. So it's right on the edges. I'm going to peel that double-sided tape off, and then I'll stick this down where my markings are. Okay, so this is what we have here. We're going to top stitch along the top and the bottom and do it once more for security at a 1/8 of an inch I'll use, and 3/8 of an inch. So I'm at a 5 stitch length still. I'm just going to keep stitching around. Okay, and then we're going to use 3/8 of an inch going back around, which should be like the edge of my foot. I am not going to use 3/8 of an inch when I come back up here along that side edge, just because I don't want that to show in the stitching later. If I don't take my full seam allowance, like sometimes I like to do. If you want, you can add some rivets here for more security. And I'm definitely going to do that because I like security. So I'm going to rivet in, I think I'll do 2 spots, just right halfway in between the backpack straps. Yeah, just so those straps are really, really nice and secure. Go ahead and grab your rectangle rings and slide them onto your strap connectors. Put them at the marking you made earlier. She says to angle it, so I'm going to put my point at the mark I made and then just angle it. Baste it on. And do the same thing on the other one. Right at the mark we made. I want to make sure my angle is approximately the same as the other side. All right, those are there. Then we're going to take the backpack strap, put a rectangle ring on there, and fold it down 1.5 inches. And then you'll rivet and or sew that on. Same thing on this side. Make sure you fold your backpack end, your strap end, toward the back of your bag so that when your straps are on, that those are hidden underneath those raw edges. So it'll sit like this with some webbing in the in-between. You see how that's set? Sorry. All right, the back panel's complete. Let's do the lining. Okay, so I'm going to do my zipper a little bit different than how she says to in the pattern. I made a 6-inch box, 1 inch down, centered on my zipper panel. And then I made a 6-inch box centered on my back panel. In the center of that box, I made a line that stopped a 1/2 inch from each end, and then I cut a slit in my fabric. Then at that 1/2 inch end where I stopped my line, I went and made my regular V clip. So it's a little triangle notch. And I did that on my lining or my zipper pocket as well. Then what I want to do next is lay a strip of double-sided tape. You'll probably want 1/4 inch double-sided tape, if not 1/2 inch. I'm using 1/4 inch. I'm using double-sided tape because I'm using the waterproof canvas and it doesn't iron over very well and can cause a lot of bulk. But the double-sided tape helps wonders. If you used cotton, you could probably get away with a glue stick or even just pressing. I'll probably want 4 more pieces for the short edges, but I'm going to go ahead and peel off the double-sided tape. I'm going to fold my flap I have now right at the line of the box that I drew, which technically should go to the end of my double-sided tape because it's a 1/4 inch. So there's a little gap here. You can see where my line is. I'm going to fold this part up at that line, not to that line, at that line, so it comes all the way up to the top of the double-sided tape. If you only fold it up to the line that we made, that's going to only give you 1/8 of an inch instead of that 1/4 of an inch that we're looking for. So here's that currently. And I can either put some more double-sided tape down or just try and hope for the best here. But I'll probably put double-sided tape down. So we go ahead and do that on the lining the lining panel as well. Okay, and then I'm going to put the other double-sided tape on the edges real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, here's my little double-sided tapes. They're like maybe 1/2 inch. They're not very big. Okay, and once more, we're going to need some double-sided tape. I would like to use my 1/8 inch double-sided tape now on the top edges of the zipper. Again, this should be out of your seam allowance. So you're not going to have to sew through like a bunch of layers of double-sided tape. Just a couple of layers of double-sided tape. It's fine. Oh, whoops, just took my zipper pull off. Oh, there we go. All right, good to go. Go ahead and take, I'm gonna light that end, your double-sided tape off, both the top and the bottom. Your zipper pull will likely get stuck to your double-sided tape at some point in this process here. Be careful when you pull it off, that way it doesn't pull your double-sided tape up. Trust me on that one. Okay, we're going to center this zipper. I usually never get it this good on the first try. If you've seen my other videos, you know that. So that was lucky. All right, so then we'll take this piece over here and center it over our opening. To do that, I like to pull my zipper all the way to that corner. That way I can match up. All right, I've got a little piece right here that's not folded down. Okay. So anyways, I like to put it all the way to the corner so I can put this box all the way to the corner and centered. And then that should be exactly where my box is on the outside. So you can go ahead and hold that really tight or put some clips down. You're going to need some kind of like hair clip or something with a long grabber to be able to hold that in place. Okay, like that. And then we're going to top stitch all the way around our box. As long as none of my edges are flipping up. I'm going to start on the bottom, what would be the right hand corner. I'm already sitting at a 5 stitch length. And I'm using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, right up next to that zipper pull, like right up next to it. So I'm going to unzip now. Pivot. And I like to close my zipper back up so I can make sure my teeth are positioned properly. Unzip again because you don't want to nick your zipper pull. Just didn't feel like the other side of my zipper tape was there, so I was really nervous. But it's there. It's just one piece. All right. And back down at an 1/8 of an inch. You'll notice I did not backstitch at the beginning, and I'm not backstitching here at the end. I am going to pivot and go 1 stitch up. That's just how I like to do mine, to have a little bit of extra security. Looks like I may have just one bobbin chicken, which is awesome. I'm going to tug both my thread tails to the back and tie them off. So I'll have to tie 2 times. Most of the time I catch it, so I only have to tie 1, but this time is 2, which is fine. And then you can hit that with some heat so it doesn't come undone. And this is the front so far and the back. Go ahead and grab that remaining zipper panel. Put it right sides together with the other zipper panel. Clip it if you want. And stitch all the way around, all 4 sides. I'm going to try to catch my zipper teeth in here, just for, you know, added security again. So that's going to give me about a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance because my zipper was a little short. go one more, not leaving an opening. All right, your zipper panel is complete. Well, this is a lining, but you get my point. You can go ahead and add an extra pocket if you want, or not. And for now, we are done. Okay, so I like to have my zipper panel, or my zipper lining side on the back panel. So I'm gonna put my lining panel right sides together with my exterior panel. Match everything up, clip it in place, and baste stitch around. I'm gonna baste from the top. Make sure you get your backpack straps and your handle out of the way while you're basting around here. All right, so now you should have your panel on like that. Go ahead and grab your other lining panel and your front exterior and match those up. I'm going to have to do some work to get mine to match up because it kind of pulled in on itself when I was putting the pocket on. So I'll just need to like stretch it out a little bit. All right, there we go. And here's your front and the back. Let's grab our zipper panel and side pockets. Go ahead and fold your zipper panel in half. Match up your side pockets and find the center at the top here. Go ahead and do it for both sides. Okay, we have the front here, so we're going to use the front now, and the front is the skinnier side. Oh, I need to find the center on my top here too, because I did not already do that. So we're gonna have to figure out how to fold that. Mark your center. That is not my center. There we go. Folded, center found. Okay. Match up your center with your zipper panel to the center of your main panel, right sides together. And then go ahead and clip all the way down and around. Well, not around, because it's just to the bottom here. The bottom of your panel, your main panel, should match the bottom of your zipper panel. So you can even go and match those corners first, and then work your way around as well. Because that lining panel is a little bit bigger, I didn't take that into consideration when matching my stuff up here. So my zipper panel doesn't fit just right yet. Got to match up my vinyl to my vinyl and we should be good. Okay, clipped on. Let's sew that with, let's do 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to sew front with the exterior facing up. You want to be at a 4 stitch length. I've got this seam guide on this, this seam guide on my bed of my machine. It's called What the Fractions, I think. It's from Seams So Awesome. It's pretty handy. It does tear. But you get like 5 yards of it or something. I think I got up to a 1/2 inch seam allowance at some point. Well, that's okay if I did. And check it out. Make sure that you didn't miss anything. Oh, it's super cute. Super cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's repeat that for the other side. I'll do that off screen and then we can bind these edges. Okay, let's finish this. All right, I have two 60-inch pieces of binding here. We probably should only need two 30 inches and then something for the bottom. I haven't calculated the math on that one yet. So I just have them in two 60-inch pieces and they're 1 inch wide right now. This is waterproof canvas, so it won't fray. I am going to just take my binding and fold it in half and wrap it over the edges here. And then clip it on. I like to fold it in half first so I get a little crease mark so I know where it needs to, where the raw edges need to slide in. We're just going to keep going around our curve here. I like to make sure my clips go all the way on so so the binding pushes all the way down as far as it can. So this is a super easy way to do binding. I really have been enjoying it this way. It definitely doesn't hurt my fingers as much. So I went ahead and put the other side of my binding on, but you don't need to do that yet. I'm going to sew into my circle here, so it's a little bit easier. Okay, so let's use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew our binding on. I switched to black so you can't see my thread so much. Also known as my mess ups. I just keep rolling my edges over, making sure it's pushed on tight when I take off those clips. And I want to try to sew as close to the edge of my binding as I can. So there's the binding, and we'll repeat on the other side. All right, so almost every time I sew binding the way I just did, I miss a spot. And I always forget, and I get mad at myself. So instead of sewing into the curve, I'm gonna sew on top of it. So I'm gonna try to get my bag flat and sew from the opposite side. And hopefully this will let me not miss so much. I don't know what the difference is, but I usually miss a lot less if I sew from this direction. But this direction is significantly more challenging. But if I only have to do it once, challenging, that beats doing it 4 times the easy way. Last time I missed like every spot. I missed one little curve right here, and I'll fix that in just a second. But now you have both binding strips on. Okay, if you want purse feet, go ahead and add them now. If I was going to add them, I would do, let's see, maybe like 1.5 inches up from the bottom and 2 inches in on each corner, and then 1 in the center. Because this is just a backpack, I will not add them. If it was a purse, I would definitely add them in. So, sorry. Now we're going to take our lining and our exterior bottom panels and put them wrong sides together and baste all the way around. All right, so I have I have all 4 quarter marks already marked. If you don't, go ahead and find those by folding it in half and finding your centers, hot dog and hamburger style. There's all 4. Then get your bag and fold your side pockets in half and find the center there. And on the opposite side, of course. And then try to do it this way. So here's our back center mark, which I already have marked. But I don't have a front center mark. All right, there we go for that. All 4 marked. Then we'll take our bottom and put it in. I'll pay attention if you have directional fabric, if you want to place it in there differently. But I'm going to go ahead and match up my centers. And I just put the extra clip there because I'm going to come back and do it anyway, so may as well add a little bit of reinforcement. so when I'm pulling it up, the clips don't pop out or anything. All right, all our centers are marked, and we'll ease this in the rest of the way. This has a curved bottom. I've seen some tutorials out there. The one in particular I'm speaking of is More Me Knows tutorial, where she makes it a rectangle bottom instead of curved. I've never tried one that way, but I think she makes all of hers like that now. I could be full of malarkey, but it's possible. I think this bottom fits in here very well. I've not had issues getting my bottom to fit in. This is actually one of the bottoms that are easier for me. I've never done the binding with it, so we'll see how that goes, going in the round like that. But we'll go ahead and do the same thing we did for the sides. Sew at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. That way when you put your binding on, you can sew at your full 1/2 inch seam allowance. And it'll cover your based stitches here, but do not baste it, okay? Just regular sew it on. If you want to baste the binding on, cool. That's I usually use like a 4.5 or a 5 stitch length for my binding. But you definitely want to sew it on first. Okay, we're going to come up to a first strip of binding here, so not too horrible. I will watch my fingers, don't worry. Here's the next side of binding. This is a little difficult on the flatbed. Be a little bit easier in the like on the cylinder arm. Speaking of Lauren, I saw she got a cylinder arm. Super jealous. Want a cylinder arm? That'd make life so much easier. Sorry if I just made anyone freak out that I was gonna, like, you know, sew my arm or something. Because I did get that pretty close. That should have been our last strip of binding there. All right. All the bindings are caught. I want to make sure that my bottom looks good. So I'm going to open this up and look in there. Make sure I got everything without getting extra stuff like hopefully you didn't sew your straps into your bag, things like that. No pinches. So I ended up taking out some of my stitching so I could make sure that my binding was facing toward the inside of the panels here, because I had some that were pointing inwards and then some that were pointing out towards the side. So I wanted them to be the same. So I fixed that, and then I'm gonna trim to just above my base stitch all the way around. And I did that on the top too, I forgot to say that. Okay, so then for this side of the binding, you want to fold this in like maybe a 1/2 inch or so, and then do the same thing we did. Fold it in half and pin around. Once you get back to the other side, go ahead and take it over the beginning and cut it. And then take your beginning off for a minute and stuff that under there and put the beginning on top so you have a nice finished edge. Like right there. And then we'll baste all the way around. Not baste, but you know, sew it on. I had a rough go with my bottom, but I did it. It's on there. Okay, let's turn our bag out. I'm gonna start by pushing my bottom in and holding onto it. And then I'm gonna switch to the other side, sorry. This is why I knew this would need more interfacing. It's good. Oh, that thread pulled out, cool. Alright, I'm just going through and pushing my binding down towards the bottom of the bag, so it'll start rounding a little bit better, hopefully. Pushing out the binding around the sides, making sure there's no threads hanging out. This is so cute, so lounge fly. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so we've got one last step here. Oh, I found a thread. Oh, pulled out. All right, cool. Is to take your webbing. I cut mine at 20 inches instead of the recommended length. Let's see, Roy G. Biv. So we are going to, oh, I need adjustables. Hold on one second. Okay, so put it through the bottom rectangle ring. I think she says fold it over 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. Or 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch. And then put your slider on So up through the bottom and over the top of the slider, just that center part. Got mine all twisted. Okay, I'm going to pull it all the way to the bottom, put it through my rectangle ring on my backpack strap from the bottom, or sorry, from the outside to the inside. And then I'll loosen this back up so we can thread it back through. So up and back down. And for whatever reason, it's not sliding. All right. Then we'll fold that end a 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch. And then we'll stitch both of those parts, but I want to go ahead and put the other one on. We're just repeating. I want it to go up through the bottom, over the top of the adjuster, up through the top of the backpack strap and down, back to the adjuster, and stuff it from the top part of the adjuster to the bottom. So you're going over that loop again, and fold it a 1/2 inch and then one more 1/2 inch. And then that will sew up here. Okay. Okay, I had to look at this a little bit closer because I wasn't sure I was doing it right. And I did end wrong. So you want to, after you come through the top loop of your backpack strap, you're going to stuff it back through your adjustable slider, but you're going from the bottom of the slider to the top. Then folding it over the 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch. And you will attach it to the back loop there. So see how it's sandwiched in the middle there? And you're going to sew it to that back one. Like this. And then we'll sew across the we'll sew across the bottom here. So I've already fixed the other one. So I'll go ahead and attach it. So I'm like maneuvering my webbing to be out of the way. If you don't have a zipper foot on, I would suggest putting a zipper on so you can get close to the hardware. I think you'll have enough wiggle room, you'll be okay. I'm gonna use a 4.5 and we'll see how this works. is only like my second. No, I've worked with webbing a few times, but the webbing's been varying in like thicknesses. This one sewed like butter at that 4.5 stitch length. This is custom like seatbelt webbing from WMX Sewing Notions. 1 inch. It's cute. I like it a lot. I don't know if this is like nylon or poly, but I do know that I try to burn the ends just in case. I don't know that I need to do that, but I do. I don't want it to come unraveled. I've had lots of the regular nylon webbing come undone, and that is like so sad. You never want to see that unravel out of your bag. It's the worst. Okay, we got one more. This one I'm right up to the edge for some reason. Probably because I just folded it over however I wanted to. There we go. A little more breathing room. Again, I'm doing the stitch all the way forward, stitch all the way back. Last part, and then you are done with your bag. Whoop, whoop. So have you made one of these? Did you like it? I really like this pattern. It's super cute. I love the cargo pocket. That cargo pocket is a challenge for me. But the cargo pocket is so practical. I've made lots of mini bags. I have my preference, but this one's super cute too, and I really enjoy it. But there we go. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have fun. Bye.